Hi everyone, welcome. Maryjo with Fourth Dimension Healing. This video is the fifth of a six-part series entitled Healing Body, Mind, Spirit with Gemstones. In this particular video, we are going to be taking a look at several gemstones and crystals that can be very helpful when we are working with emotional healing, particularly as it relates to grief and loss. Now keep in mind that crystal healing is considered alternative and complementary and is not intended to replace conventional healthcare. The gemstones that I've selected to explore a bit more with you today are stones that resonate with the earth element and the water element. If you've not yet already seen my other videos where I go into more detail around working with the various elements, I would encourage you to do so, because you will be able to take that information in addition to the information that I offer here to help you have a better understanding of how the gemstones that you are choosing to work with can help support you, not only from their own properties, but also from the elements with which they resonate. The stones that I have decided to bring today are stones that are going to be helping with the grounding and the nurturing and the compassion that is really a part of deep grief work. There's no way to rush grief and loss. We really benefit from being with those emotions, allowing those emotions to move through us so that they are able to be healed. And so these stones are all very gentle stones that are very helpful with that process. I have brought today Rainforest Jasper, green moss agate, green aventurine, rose quartz, and Chrysocolla. The first one I'd like to talk about with you today is Rainforest Jasper. Now, Rainforest Jasper resonates with the earth frequency. And so it's this beautiful, strong, steady inflow of a grounding, steady energy. It's a sense of security and safety. You know, as I said, we can't rush grief. And so knowing that there is not a real fast timeline through which we need to move as we are experiencing loss and grief, perhaps a broken heart, this is the sort of stone that can be really helpful with that work. It resonates deeply with the heart chakra, very nurturing, very much allowing us to be present to whatever is arising. This is a powerful stone for that kind of work. Here's another example, a smaller piece of the Rainforest Jasper. Nurturing, grounding, very compassionate. Holding one of these, placing it next to you at your bedside, in your home, next to you at work, during a meditation. All of those are ways that by allowing yourself to be within the presence of the vibrations of this stone and the earth element, that can be very helpful. The next stone that I'd like to talk with you just briefly about is green moss agate. This also is an earth stone. It also has this beautiful green quality that reminds us of the nurturing energies that the earth has to offer, bringing those energies all the way up into our heart. And when we're experiencing grief and loss, our heart is broken. And so knowing that we are being nurtured and held tenderly with the energies of the earth through the properties of this particular green moss agate can be very helpful. Here's another piece. Now, green moss agate varies widely in its appearance. You might have a piece that's almost pale green, almost translucent. You may find that you have one that almost has more of a green, creamy texture and appearance. There's a lot of mystery in my experience with green moss agate. And it's that mystery of healing, that mystery of allowing the transformation to take place very slowly and very, very gently. And that's the work of grief. Here's another example of a stone that resonates with the earth. Green aventurine. Now, green aventurine actually is a form of quartz, so it's got this silicon dioxide that resonates with the cells within our body. It also resonates with the water element. So here we've got that grounding, nurturing quality of the earth energy moving up and flowing readily through our energy field, through our heart chakra, through all the places within our body and around our body where we're holding that emotion of grief, of loss, of that brokenheartedness, and allowing these nurturing qualities from this particular stone to be able to really nurture. This one appears almost a little bit whiter, a little bit more of that quartz showing through. So when we're working with stones, particularly that support the heart chakra, which is where, again, we are doing a deep amount of work when we are working with grief and loss, you're going to find stones that are in the greens and the pinks to be very helpful because they resonate with that heart chakra. The next piece of quartz, actually, another piece, this is rose quartz, pink, extremely helpful for self-compassion and self-love. When we're experiencing grief and loss, we have a multitude of emotions that arise. Some of them really aren't even ours, but we're impacted by them, and others really are part of our own experience that we're in the process of clearing out and doing healing work around. To do deep heart work requires that we be extremely gentle with ourselves, loving ourselves, allowing the work we're doing through heartbreak, through loss, through grief to take as long as it takes. And rose quartz has this ability to support us and has an energy of self-acceptance and self-love so that we are able to accept that we are where we are within our healing journey. Here's another piece of rose quartz. You can see that this one has a little darker tint to it. Some rose quartz is almost white and translucent. Some is rough and raw chunks. Having a chunk or a piece of rose quartz with you in a pouch, in a pocket, sitting next to you at work can be a touch point to remind you that you are loved, that you are learning to love yourself deeply through the work you're doing. The final stone that I brought today is a stone that resonates with the water element. Rose quartz resonates with the water element as well. So we've got this soothing, cooling, washing away experience. And it is Chrysocolla. Now I brought both a tumbled and a raw piece. Here's the raw piece. Now Chrysocolla is a phenomenal stone for clearing and washing away. It also is a stone that supports our ability to express ourselves. And so as we do grief work, as we are experiencing loss, as we are experiencing living with a broken heart, we are in the process of allowing how we're feeling to be expressed. Chrysocolla can be very helpful with that. And it is helpful because not only does it support heart work, it also supports work in the fifth chakra, which is our throat chakra, which is how we express, whether it is speaking out on something that's important to us or allowing that grief to move out and be expressed. Whether it's through tears, whether it's through writing a poem, creating a piece of pottery, a painting, any kind of creative activity that allows that grief to move up and out is supported and benefits by stones such as Chrysocolla. So here we have a water stone that supports heart and also works at the throat level to be able to help us express the grief and loss that we're healing. Here is a piece of tumbled Chrysocolla. Beautiful, nurturing, supporting, gentle release. All of these stones, I hope you've been hearing as I've been talking about them, work very gently. It's as if there's this warm set of arms or a warm blanket gently loving and nurturing us as we move through the work of grief and loss in a way that is very much supported by the elements and by the properties within each of these stones. So as you explore these stones, you may have them, or maybe you've already, maybe you have them in front of you and you're working with them as I'm talking about them. That's beautiful. There is this wonderful reminder that working with stones that support emotional healing, particularly around loss and grief, really requires that we first of all feel safe. As we think of the chakra column, that root chakra, that base chakra is about security. It is about safety. The second chakra, as we move up into that lower abdominal area, that second chakra is about relationships and it's about emotions. And so when we're experiencing grief and loss, we really are working at a relationship and an emotional level. That third chakra is that solar plexus in our upper abdomen, and that particular chakra is about personal power. It's about our own choice to be able to do what it is that we're doing. And then as we move up into the heart chakra, where we work on that loving, that compassion, that grief that very much lands in this heart chakra, if you notice, we can't do the heart work if we haven't started at the bottom and moved up into a balanced state. So that's where stones that resonate with the earth frequency, that can draw those earth energies up into the heart, can be very helpful. With the Chrysocolla, here we're working with heart and throat and expressing, because we have built a solid chakra column, a balanced chakra column below, so that as each of those chakras balances and grounds with the support and help of the frequencies and properties of the gemstones and the energies of the elements with which they resonate, that's the beauty of how we're able to do deep work. So as you are working with grief and loss, you may have particular stones that you've worked with that you find very helpful. Explore what element it is that they resonate with. It could be that you're not exactly sure, and you can certainly go out to my webpage, go to my shop, and when you go to my shop, sort by the gemstones by what you've got, and then you'll be able to see which element is it that you are benefiting from. And as I mentioned, if you haven't already taken a peek at my other videos that talk about the specific elements, I would encourage you to do so as well, so that you can really begin to build your understanding of and knowledge about not only specific stones, but also the elements that they resonate with. Please remember that, for example, my experience with green aventurine in some ways is unique to me. So as you work with a stone, perhaps green aventurine, notice what you're experiencing, because that's far more valuable than anything I have to say or anything anybody else has to say about that particular stone, or any stone for that matter. So please keep in mind that if you have questions about gemstones, if you have questions about how to work with them with healing, feel free to send me an email. Go ahead and send me a chat through my webpage. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you are not already receiving updates when I post new videos, go ahead and subscribe, and you can do that. And then you'll know when a new video is posted. You can also forward this on to anybody else that you think would be beneficially supported by this information. We all deal with emotional healing. We all deal with grief and loss. And it's just wonderful to know that we can work with gemstones and crystals to support the work that we're doing through some really difficult times. So I wish you well with your healing around emotional healing, particularly as it relates to grief and loss. I send you many blessings. Be well.